Hi everyone.
Good evening, sir. You're doing fine.
Good evening. Sorry?
Hope you're doing fine, sir.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you're glad that you joined this session in spite of today's schedule. So, and after this, good evening, everybody. This is Tanya Sapa, and I'm from the University. I've been working in this legal law forum for a month now as CRSR team member, and I'll conduct today's session. So, we are here with our Kate Gaurav Singh Shukla, who happens to be a very dynamic person, India's most, one of the most dynamic people I have come across, and I'm very lucky that he's here with me today. And also, regarding the legal law, I think everybody knows whoever has joined. But the best thing about the forum is he has the budding lawyers who can see this field of law and let them explore. So I won't delay the session. I'll quickly start with the question. So should I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay, sir. So what type of internships is useful for a lawyer or a lawyer? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So what type of an internship is more helpful for a student who's in the field of
Okay.
law? Is it virtual or physical? Okay.
Well, as far as any student is concerned, they need to first, identify as to what interests them more. If they are more inclined towards litigation side of the, profession, then they should do more litigation-based internships, and it shouldn't just be restricted to office-related research work. They should not have a second thought about going to court, even if they have to just accompany their seniors or anyone else the senior asks them to report to and work with them. They should go and see how the court basically functions, operates. They should know about how the registry happens for any original side matters, or how the high court functions. And I always believe that if anyone wants to learn about the litigation side of the profession, then they should start from the district court and not directly go to the high court, because high court does not do the basic work when it comes to CPC, CRPC, or any other matters that are listed. They are an appellate side or sometimes an original side, but if you want to learn about the business, about how the courts function and how the lower judiciary operates, then they should start from district courts and not from high courts. And if someone has more inclination towards non-litigation side of the profession, then they should opt for maybe corporate firms or companies, or law firms which deal purely in non-litigation matters in any particular forum. So it will basically help them to understand as to how a company functions when it comes to contracting, or how the companies basically operate when it comes to their specific industries. So let's take for an example, if you are inclined towards non-litigation side of the profession, wherein you want corporate to be your domain in future, then you should join law firms or companies which are dealing in those type of work, and then understand the business, because understanding the business is more important. Once you understand the business, it's very easy for you to conduct your work on a day-to-day basis. And I always believe that doing 4 weeks, 5 weeks internship in one company and then going to another company or law firm, I don't think it is helpful for a person, because you don't learn anything in 5 weeks. So I always hire people who are willing to join the firm for a longer duration of internship. And I also suggest everyone who comes to me for advice that you should at least have 3 months internship in any particular company or law firm or offices that you are working in, because that will, first 15 days to 20 days, you will not even understand what's happening, and by the time you start getting the hang of it, you are already on your verge of finishing. your internships, and then you don't understand anything. But if you work with someone for 3 months or 6 months, then you will understand as to how the entire work functions, and you will be able to contribute as well as enhance your skill sets and knowledge. So it's my genuine advice to everyone that do not go for 10 different internships in 10 different law firms or companies. And when someone asks you as to what you have done, you have to make up things because you have actually not done anything. So you can't fool the other person or fool your own self. I mean, it's not helpful for you as a student.
I think the students look for the certificates that they get. I didn't see.
How does a certificate help if you cannot crack an interview? Nobody gives you a job on the basis of the number of publications or the number of moot courts or the number of internship certificates that you have. You need to have basic knowledge for what they are hiring you for. If they have to teach you grammar while drafting contracts, then it's a no-no for them. If they have to tell you the difference between indemnity and limitation of liability for a company which only deals in contract drafting, they will not hire you. They cannot educate you from the scratch. You have to have those basic principles of law well understood when it comes to dealing with work, and then they can enhance your knowledge. But if you expect them to start mentoring you or start teaching you basically, or imparting knowledge for that matter from scratch, then nobody is interested in doing that, because they are at the end of the day a professional facility outfit. They are not an education institution who is there to teach you the basics. So for a law student, you need to know the basic of MS Word. You need to know the basics of MS Excel. You need to have a basic knowledge about how PowerPoint presentations are made. You need to know how a write-up is drafted. What should be the footnotes and what should be the reference material, how it needs to be incorporated in those drafts. All those things. There are hundreds and thousands of things that you have to learn on a daily basis. That's when you will be ready to work in a professional company when you graduate. And right now it's a very alarming situation for every student, because the freshers that get hired in law firms, their work will be overtaken by the artificial intelligence in the next 5 years. I can guarantee you that. People are already doing it. Everything is happening so fast that the technology is developing by leaps and bounds every day. And anybody and everybody who's in the profession of making money, or who's in the profession of providing their expertise and services, will only hire those who can fit into the bill, and not anyone else, because artificial intelligence will do 90% of the basic work that a junior associate does or a junior advocate does, may it be on litigation side or may it be on the non-litigation side. So my uh, honest advice to everyone is that even if you get 1 year from now to prepare yourself, please have an in-depth knowledge of CPC, CRPC, IPC, evidence, corporate laws, constitution, maybe media and entertainment related laws, or any other field that you wish to choose. You need to have in-depth knowledge about it. If you do not have that, it is very difficult for you to procure a job. Of course, there are companies who just hire personnel or employees for the sake of building the number of billable hours, because they charge the clients accordingly. So they will make a lot of money out of your services, but you will be compensated in a very minuscule manner, which in the corporate terms we call it as peanuts. But they'll ask you to do one kind of work, and you will not be able to enhance your knowledge. So it's very important for you to understand these things, that what kind of internship are you taking? Are you learning something out of it or not? Do not run behind the names. Okay, the bigger the law firms are, the lesser the work you get. It's as simple as that. You don't want to do just printing and scanning work. You want to work on actual live assignments that are happening. And I'm not saying that interning at these big firms is not beneficial. Of course it is, but then do it for a long term, because then there you get a plethora of things to work on and see. Because the transactions that happen in these law firms, big law firms, tier 1 law firms, is very exhaustive and very diverse. So of course, I mean, one should also opt for those, but also understand what is your work profile gonna be. One, second, whether you're taking a 4 weeks internship or whether you're going there for a long term. Try to get a long term internship or repeat the internships one after the another in the same law firm if possible. That also helps them to ascertain as to how good you are in your work, which leads to a PPO kind of a situation. Especially with big law firms, tier one law firms, they always are looking out for people who are dedicated to one stream of work, and they are continuing to work with the same organization for a long time. And even if not with the same organization, but if they are working in different organizations in the same domain, then that is also very helpful. But jumping the guns from here to there is not possible, because if you see, in our profession there are very few lawyers who are very diversified in terms of their practice. It's only big law firms who have number of partners who are handling specific domain or specific area of practice. Not every partner does every kind of work, so they are specialized in one thing and they continue to work in the same industry. Like how I am primarily engaged a lot in media and entertainment industry and sports industry for that matter. But that doesn't stop me from providing my services in the litigation side of other things. So I have enhanced my knowledge to an extent that I can be of limited, resourceness to all my clients, and my resourcefulness should be gauged by them as to whether I can actually provide them the proper services, legal services or not. Because if I do not portray that confidence in them, then they'll not come up, even if they are my existing clients, but they'll not give me litigation matters if I do not have the knowledge about how to go ahead with those particular kinds of cases.
Thank you, sir. And a basic question asked by budding lawyers, that whether they should go for internships or unpaid.
Okay, now this is a very controversial question, okay?
Yes.
Because what I see on LinkedIn is everybody is behind the money. Now I have a different approach to this. Of course, I'll make it very clear right now here on this platform that COVID has stuck us for the last 1.5 years. So the situation has changed a little. So there is an opportunity to do online internships. So in those situations, I do not pay my interns because they are working from their respective homes as per their convenience after attending the classes and all. So I don't compensate them for any remuneration. However, whenever any of my interns have ever worked with me, I have always paid them a basic stipend amount which covers their travel expenses at least. And if they are from another city and they are relocating to Mumbai, then I try to enhance that stipend to an extent that I at least cover 30 to 40% of their basic expenses, because Mumbai is a little expensive city. But having said that, it is not that you end up spending a lot of money. If you know how to save it, you can save it, of course. Nobody wants to have a palatial house while they are doing internship. They should know how to, compensate for the luxury by taking a place which is reasonable enough, and then spending a lot of time in the office to learn the work and take a basic stipend. I mean, now the situation has changed in the last 5-10 years, I would say. Even in smaller cities right now, advocates that have graduated and are practicing and are holding a license to practice, even they are not getting paid the amount of money that an intern gets in a tier 1 law firm or a tier 2 law firm in metropolitan and cosmopolitan cities. Because there, I wouldn't say it's an exploitation, but the amount of revenue that the particular lawyer or that offices generate are not so high that they can compensate and remunerate every intern or every advocate that is working with them. Because there, on the litigation side, it's purely learning of how you as a lawyer should work. So they are basically training you and mentoring you on every aspect of work. So they have the mindset that if I'm teaching someone or training someone, why would I pay for it? Whereas in corporates, there's a different structure altogether, which this topic can have a discussion of more than 5 hours, because there are so many aspects and facets related to this. But as far as asking for stipend is concerned, I think what is more important for you as a student is to learn, is to get the opportunity and the assignments which are enhancing your skill sets, is what I've always believed. Because if you run behind the money, of course they'll give you the money, it is not a major concern for a tier 1 law firm. But whether you're learning something out of that is more important, because the other controversial side of this, which I am now addressing, is that people have an expectation from lawyers and offices that they should pay stipend because we are working for them. Honestly saying, I was also a student at one point of time. I didn't have that mindset, because if someone is giving me a chair to sit in their office and giving me exposure to certain matters, it's a favor that they are doing on me,
Yes.
because they already have so many juniors, they have clerks, they have themselves so much of knowledge, that in order for you to do some work, it will take 3 to 4 hours, but for them it's just a matter of half an hour. But people are giving back to the society, people are giving back to the fraternity, and that's why they are encouraging interns to come and work for them. Most of them, I wouldn't say everybody is of that mindset. Certain people only ask interns to come and do the clerical work, which is also not correct, because at the end of the day you are investing a lot of time from your own personal space and going to an office and trying to learn things. So it's primarily their duty to at least give you exposure, even if they cannot sit one to one with you. I'm talking about the partners. But as far as the associates or junior associates are concerned, with whom these students are working, they should have that culture in the office that please impart some or the other knowledge to those people. Just don't give them blind research work without specifying as to exactly what the facts of the matter is, and what they are expecting out of those researchers to research on. If you just give them, please research on 376, without telling them the nitty gritty of the facts of the case, it's of no use. There are thousands of judgments which deal with 376. So how will they come to know, okay, what do you have to research and what do you have to present before your seniors and associates, in order for them to take those particular research work and put it into use when it comes to arguing, or when it comes to drafting the petition, or WS or whatever for that matter. Not WS, basically it will it's a criminal matter, so there won't be any WS. But as far as putting those particular information into use is very important, is what I feel. And these days students are paying a lot of money to their institutions for getting degree. But a student never asks or challenges the management that you took 20 lakh rupees from us, why aren't you even giving us an opportunity to sit for an interview? You don't challenge there. Yeah, wherein their basic primary responsibility is two things. One, they need to educate you to the extent that you are able to secure a job, and second, it's interrelated, which is they giving you the opportunity to sit for maybe PPOs or for a job interview. But it's not happening at every college. Every year there are 500, 300 students graduating from one batch, from one college, and the number of people that are placed through the college are 10, 20, 30. That's it. What happens to the remaining 270? They also paid the same amount of money. At least give them an opportunity wherein a tier 2 or a tier 3 law firm comes and hires them. And if not, then try to reach out to companies with their CVs and tell that maybe these are the students that you would want to hire. Nobody questions there. I mean, you're paying so much of money. I sometimes get so surprised that someone who has chosen criminal law as their honors, is getting imparted knowledge for what happens in US. I mean, are they going to US as far as the criminal system in US is concerned? Make them understand CRPC, make them understand IPC, make them understand evidence. If they cannot answer the basic questions of all these three subjects, then how do you expect them to secure a job in a criminal law firm without having the knowledge. I mean, what's the use of it? I mean, judicial system, judicial reforms, criminal reforms in US, in UK, in European countries. Well, they won't even see that on the map. So please teach them the laws which are applicable in India. They're going to practice in India, not outside. Of course, you can have that enhanced knowledge as a side benefit to them. But your primary responsibility is to teach them these three subjects. They should have in-depth knowledge about it. And 1.5 years or 2 years time to educate them on their specialized subjects is more than enough. I mean, if I get an opportunity to teach someone CRPC, I can do that in 15 days. I just have to spend 2 hours every day. So why can't the institutions do it? I have a very serious problem with how the syllabus is being designed and how the colleges are imparting knowledge. I mean, you can have the best of the professors in your college, but if they are not teaching them properly, it's of no use. Go and study from a small college जहाँ पे 15,000 की फीस है. क्यों 20 लाख रुपए खर्चा करने हैं? सिचुएशन तो दोनों के लिए सेम है. You're not getting a job. If they are not guaranteeing your job, then there's no use of paying 20 lakh rupees for 5 years course. I mean, see people who have flourished who are from smaller colleges. I mean, people from small cities. I mean, they are excelling in the profession better than a NLU grad. I'm not saying NLUs are not good. I'm not saying private institutions are not good. But they also need to design their entire syllabus as well as create ample opportunities for the students who are bestowing their faith on the institution to do both the things. If that doesn't happen, then God bless everyone, and they need to do things on their own. So that's what the situation is. I'm so sorry I'm being little negative here, but that's the harsh reality of our profession.
And we have to
Sorry, didn't get you.
we have to face the reality no matter how hard it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality. That's the ground reality. I mean, I can go on and speak for the next 24 hours if I have to. People do come to me. People first thing when they ask me what is the stipend amount, even without asking what is the job profile, it's a serious no. I don't even reply. I'm being little obnoxious here, but I don't even reply to their messages again. Because if you are running behind money, peanuts. I mean, 5,000, 7,000 stipend is nothing. A lawyer can pay that. But someone whose primary mindset is not to learn but to earn out of the internships as a stipend, I mean, you're not serious about the work. So please don't waste your time and my time. As simple as that. I'm a very blunt speaker. I'm a straight speaker, and I always shoot straight. I do not beat around the bush.
And that's what right.
Sorry?
That's what we need more. Speakers who actually speak the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you a very flowery picture.
90 plus very flowery pictures, but not from you.
Yeah, and mostly I hire interns or associates not through any references, but I research about profile, I interview them personally. But I see people who are doing internships with me go on a vacation for 15 days in 2 months internship without informing. And they are putting all the Instagram post and all the vacation post without completing the work. I mean, जो काम 2 दिन में हो सकता है उसके लिए वो 10 दिन लेते हैं और उसमें भी गड़बड़ करके आते हैं. तो my team has to again educate them as to what was required. And if you are not serious about your work, we also don't pay much attention. उनका पड़ा रहता है. Their presentations and their research work and their drafting work is lying in our emails because they themselves are not serious. Why would we waste our time? I mean, my associates end up working 10 to 12 hours every day because that's the amount of work that we have. So if you cannot, be serious about your own internship, my associates being a senior, from the national law schools and from private institutions, they know how they have been treated in the past. So they don't pay much attention as far as any junior's work is concerned if they themselves are not. As soon as possible, come back with it. And then let me see and give you feedback about what needs to be done and what does not require to be reflected in the work. So that's how it is.
I think they should be grateful and show patience with them.
Sorry, I'm not getting you.
I think they should be grateful that you are friends with them, even when they are not doing any work, not doing any picture.
See, I'll be very honest here. I mean, if someone is coming and working with me or for me, as an intern or as an associate, I don't have the right to demean them in any manner. Okay, the only thing that I can do is ignore, which I do, because I don't have the time to mentor them or be behind them, that you have to do your work on time, you have to do it diligently, you do not have to be negligent. That they are matured enough, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. If they can handle every other aspect of their life, then they also should understand how serious they need to be in the profession. And if they are not serious, nobody is. I mean, nobody has the time to invest in you. Nobody has.
Another question with us, that is how do we manage our academics and our internships?
How do you manage your academics and your internships is what the question is, right?
Yes.
Okay. That depends. Okay. If your college is giving you a lot of assignments to work on, then you need to figure out and manage the time accordingly. Because I'm not in those shoes that I can actually guide you as to how you need to manage the time. It's up to you, whether you want to finish your college assignments in 2 hours, or whether you want to finish it in 6 hours, because you want to also relax. That's up to you. And as far as work is concerned in internships, since most of the internships right now are online, you do have the time to maybe work in the night when you are done with your other college work and classes, and then start working on those. Or you can work in the morning, early morning, give it to the respective seniors, and they can come back with their feedback meanwhile you attend your colleges and everything. It actually depends on oneself. I cannot guide you there, so sorry about that, because time management is something that each individual has to do, because they have a lot of personal chores also to do, and they may have an errand to run. So it's up to them how they manage the time and finish the work actually on time. That's very important. May it be college work or may it be office work, whatever.
So because of the limited time, I wish I could extend it. I can't. Any tips, lastly, any tips for budding lawyers in France?
Budding lawyers, they need to be budding in the manner that you have the knowledge about the law, legal subjects, the law as a profession. You need to be very honest with your own self as to where you stand in terms of your skill sets, as well as in terms of your shortcomings that you need to work on. Don't run behind the money, because initially you will have to demand, but you won't get. And if you have the skill sets, you will deserve. You don't have to demand. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Nobody wants to lose a good resource for just saving 5,000 rupees, because they know that the resource can be helpful for generating 50,000 every month additional than what they are. So as I said, you don't run behind the money by demanding it. Deserve it, and it will come to you automatically. And only time can give you the amount of comfort you want in terms of your remuneration, in terms of your profile. So be patient. Don't run behind those immaterial things at the prima facie level, being a fresher. Because once you gain the knowledge, you will yourself have that commanding position. You will not have to demand anything.
Thank you, sir. It was an amazing session. And hope
Thank
we can connect.
Sorry?
Hope that we can connect.
Okay, that's fine.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, have a nice day and all the best for your future.
Thank you.